Hello, everyone. This is Dr. TK, licensed clinical psychologist and the number one therapist business coach. So, I am here talking about on the live podcast 5 reasons as to why therapists definitely want to consider a business coach. And so, as we warm up, I just want to say I'm super grateful for everyone who is watching live, also those who will be watching at a later time. If you can in the chat box, because you know that I love engagement, I love to see who I'm talking to. If you can just put in the state that you're located in, I would love it. Good evening, blessed. Okay. And so this is going to be an awesome topic. I chose to talk about this particular topic simply because I get a lot of DMs. I get a lot, and this is on Instagram, I get a lot of replies to my emails as well as from people that know of my services. They inquire to ask, do they actually need a business coach as a therapist if maybe all they want to do is have a private practice? And so we have New Jersey in the building. I am in Southern California. Hey, Miss Shayla. So I'm super excited to see a lot of my clients on here, and I'm sure that some people will check it out later because I made sure to stream it across all of my Facebook groups because they've been asking for more live workshops. And so I can clearly see that I'm up in this thing because we are here live. So let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm super excited. So, if you are not already tuned into my podcast, I have a podcast platform on majority of the podcast platforms, but I really prefer, of course, iTunes. And then from time to time, where I'm starting to focus on at least a minimum once a week, I want to do a live podcast so that I can also answer any of the questions that you may have, whether it's live and or later, L or L, right? And so I find that people ask more questions when they're actually present, or maybe even when they watch a video later versus potentially a podcast, because I can't see, your comments live. I can see it later. And so let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me actually transition because as a psychologist, as a college professor, I love to be able to stay on track. I also know that some people like to take notes because I do these podcasts more like a workshop where I'll always state, get your pen and paper ready and get buckled up for the ride. And so, welcome to the Therapists Deserve Abundance 5 Reasons to Get a Business Coach. Okay. So, I'm going to break these down. And what I'm going to do down is, of course, intertwine some actual examples. And so, the number one reason why business coaches are imperative to mental health therapists is that you can get out of your comfort zone. You can also get out of your own way. So, one of the tips that I would encourage you to think about is that if you get a coach in which they are 8 to 10 steps ahead of you, the goal would be that you're learning something new, right? Remember, you don't know what you don't know. And as we are kids, I remember thinking back, sometimes adults may call a child ignorant, right? And depending on how the adult spoke to or at the child, it kind of feels like profanity. Nevertheless, the message that they're often trying to give the kid is that you don't know something. But unfortunately, because of their approach, it's not received the way it should be. So I am not a coach in which I'm going to yell at you or scream at you. My voice may raise, typically from a more passionate place. And that's primarily because most therapists often only look at guidance in terms of potential business or mental health services from clinical supervisors, professors, or CE instructors. And I just so happen to be all of those, as well as a business coach. But nevertheless, a coach helps you get out of your comfort zone because they can teach you new things which are strategies. They can teach you things like, for your private practice, branding, which is if someone says the name of your business or they say your name, you want people to know, oh, I always say the difficult teen lady, because that's what I was known for first in my private practice. Oh, that's a difficult teen lady. Or now when they hear my name, depending on the context, they'll say, oh, you do a lot of work with the reentry population in South Central, right? And or, oh, you're the business coach girl. or doctor, whatever, whatever they want to call me. But nevertheless, that's my brand, which means that I've done a very good job letting people know what I do and more importantly, what I am good at. From branding, a coach can also help you learn how to market your services. And so sometimes clinicians are not able to keep consistent business because maybe they depended upon state grants. I mean, the era that we're living in right now, there was money all around us, especially from resources that were paying for clients to go get mental health services. Nevertheless, some clinicians may have become so dependent upon that marketing tool that when things started to quote unquote dip down and go into the new norm, referrals stopped or they slowed down. So you can get a business coach to help you learn how to market, identify your true ideal client, not just a random person that you can see, that you can fill out a claim for, or that they can pay you by investing in their mental health. I'm really for teaching therapists in the Dope Therapist Academy community and our mastermind that I really only prefer them to see clients that they're really passionate about, because that means that your doors to your business will stay open a lot longer. Other things that your coach can help you with in terms of private practice is the vision for your business. So making sure that you know exactly the direction that your business is going in. That is super important. Client attraction. What type of clients do you want to be attracted to you? And then how can you position yourself online as the expert so that people see you as the expert? I can walk around all day long saying I'm the number one therapist business coach. But if I'm not producing results as though a number one therapist business coach does in their business and with their clients, also known as testimonials and social proof, how can I dare call myself the number one therapist business coach? Now, we can say I'm acting as if, I'm speeding up time, but at the end of the day, I also have to be in tune with, can I solve somebody else's problem? And have I, of course, at this point, solved other people's problems? And I have. So they can do a lot more as it pertains to your private practice, but you do have to put in the work. As a coach, just like a therapist, what do we tell our clients? We're going to walk alongside of you and give you these awesome strategies. But the real therapy happens when you go home, when you go to work, when you go back into your community. This is only 45 minutes of our time. And coaching is nothing different, but you do have to put in the work. Okay. Now, as it relates to digital products, because I know not every therapist wants to have a private practice, not every therapist wants to also have a private practice full time down the long term, down the long run. And so, as it relates to digital products, whether it be ebooks, workbooks that are downloadable, email marketing, online courses, anything that's virtual, like I call them virtual parties or workshops, those are in the digital course or space. Okay. So when you have digital products, a coach can help you fine tune your offer. A coach can help you maybe get clear on what you should be offering and then going to create it, and maybe even helping you out with the layout of the stages of how to let your audience know that this offer or product or service exists. Your coach can also help you build out your packages. Now, you will notice that I do not mention pricing, because the reframe that I put back in front of my clients is I told them it is a golden rule in my program that I'm not going to tell you how much to charge for your services. You should sit down and think about, what is the outcome, transformation, and value that you're going to give to your clients or customers, and how much is that worth when they get it? Right? So I never tell my clients, hey, you should charge $197 for this, $2,000 for this, $10,000 for this. We can talk about the value. I can help you become more clear on what you're offering. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to feel comfortable with that price point. So if you're watching live, put a 1 in the comment box if that makes sense. You have to know the end result, transformation. You have to know the value that you bring to the table to help solve the person's problem. And then when you look at those two things, how much is that worth to resolving the client's problem, solving the client's problem? That sometimes is typically underpriced because we only look at trading hours for dollars because we're so used to doing therapy. Okay. So, other things related to digital products that coaches can help you with is email marketing, getting in front of new leads, or maybe giving you ideas to get in front of new people, new customers. That is another word for leads. And then also just remember that time is money. So, even though you're creating a digital product, maybe you can share with your coach, you know what? I want to do a passive income product. I don't want to be present. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I have to be present to like record the videos. So, like in my academy, what was it, last month? I sat there for 2 days. Now, I've been doing this content for 2 years, but I sat there for 2 days. Voice was hurting. By the end of the night, I had my tea, but I sat there and recorded y'all over 20 plus videos for our cohort so that I can break down their materials in like 5 to 10 minutes. And so, what I'm leading to is if you have a coach, they can help you structure all of that out. Okay. And you don't have to do it on your own. But in the beginning, it may be you exchanging time because you're expecting people to invest in your product at the end, but you don't have to keep recording. Okay. So that's number one. Now let's go into number two, which is expertise. So, as we talk about getting a business coach, if you're a mental health provider, is you want to find someone that's in alignment with you, that to me is also in your field or that has worked in your field. I am not saying that you have to get a business coach that is a therapist that is currently doing the exact work that you're doing right at this very moment. And if that was the case, I wouldn't have Dope Therapist Academy because I'm promoting therapists to find their own way, either have a part-time private practice or they define what a full-time private practice is. But I no longer have a full-time private practice. I have a very, very low caseload in which I have selected the clients to continue with due to symptomology. I've graduated the clients I needed to graduate, and I did not replace those clients because my mission has moved from one to one to many. So what that means is I only take clients if they're not already active on my caseload. I only take clients that come back that I have had in the past if it makes sense as it relates to availability. Maybe I don't take their insurance anymore. There's a lot to consider. But nevertheless, I've chosen to take my business in a different direction, but I know that I'm still doing the work. I'm an APA certified instructor for CEs for licensed therapists. And so I have no choice but to stay current. And I'm also a college professor. Okay. So when we talk about alignment, I hope that your goal will be to learn from someone who is 8 to 10 steps ahead of you and has at least walked in your shoes, whether it be personal experience, career experience, or a blend of the two. So, how this comes together in private practice is that, when we first start looking at mentorship, we may have had professors. Right now, what we do potentially, if you've never had a business coach, is you look at networking, which is a forever thing as a business owner in your career. Your goal every year should be who can I can connect with this year, this quarter, this month? Who do I need to text today so that we can go out to eat? We can go to brunch on Sunday. You always want to be in the mindset of masterminding with one another. Okay. And so for myself, I was looking for a coach when I initially thought that, oh, I want to have a private practice, but there was no one available who had a full blown program. There were people that had courses like workshops on how to get on insurance panels and things like that, but no one was really available to walk me through the foundational framework that I offer, for example, in Dope Therapist Academy. And so I found that I had to invest in general coaches in which I had to then extract a lot of the information that they taught and say, can I do this? Is this ethical? Am I able to do this right now? Or is my capacity just in my private practice? Because when you go to a general coach, they're going to talk about email marketing and all those things. But when I first started back in 2000, I'm going to say 8 or 9, 2009, post-graduation, but not licensed yet. I really wanted to hit the ground running as soon as I got licensed and have a private practice. So I wanted to start training myself early as a business owner, but they were non-existent. Okay. So you want someone who's the expert in terms of what you're looking for. If you're looking to have a profitable foundational practice where you know where your business is going to be in the next 5 years. You want to know who your ideal client is. You want to automate things in your business so that you can get some of your time back. You want to identify your niche so that it can lead to streams of income, and you want to delegate and hire so that you can get your time back again. You see how smooth I just introduced that BRAND, blueprint, reach, automation, niche, and delegation framework to you? That's how easy what you offer in your mental health practice should roll off your tongue. And that's what we teach our students in DTA, which is to create their own framework, create their own baby theoretical orientation. Okay. And that has worked wonders for our clients. But again, that's something that it took me 10 years to, well, it's 10 years today, but it took me years to develop from just trying new things out. Now, if you have digital products as it relates to finding a coach that aligns with your expertise, the first thing you want to do is ask yourself, what type of digital product do I want to create? And then who has created those products, who's been very successful with those products, so that they can teach me how to create one on my own. And it does not have to be a therapist, but if your product is mental health in nature, just have in the back of your mind that if you have questions as it relates to HIPAA, they may not be able to answer it for you. And they may be the coach that says, which I even say this to my clients, I will give you this, but you still have to go out there and do the rest. I'm not gonna hold your hand the entire time. You're independent. You're a grown person. You're licensed, and you are a mental health professional. You are a business owner. Okay, and so you want to learn how to, for example, position your product online consistently. Maybe that's your area that you're in right now. I want to show up consistently and show people that I have a digital product to offer. Maybe you want to find a coach so that you can learn how to do a proper elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is if I go into my old therapy office where I still have my mailing address. If I go up to my office, it's the 7th floor. If we don't have to stop on any other floors, it takes me all but like 15 seconds to go from 1 to 7. If I was in the elevator with one other person and they said, "Oh, you're on the 7th floor too, what do you do?" I should not just respond and say, "Oh, I'm a clinical psychologist." I would say, "Oh, I'm a clinical psychologist. I work with X, and I am a therapist coach in which I show them how to grow and scale a mental health profitable business." That is a elevator pitch. Put a 2 in the comment box if that makes sense. That should be your focus, and you don't have to do it on your own. Your goal should be, who can I find that can teach that to me? This is what we did when we found a graduate school. We went and looked at, if I want to work with child and adolescents, who has a child and adolescent track or enough child and adolescent classes so that at least I can graduate knowing a lot about child and adolescent psychotherapy. If you wanted to become a psychiatrist, you clearly go to medical school and then you specialize in psychiatry for psychology, right? If we had the ability to slow down and pick the grad school that would give us the best outcome for our career, why can't we as business owners or future business owners take the same step back and really ask ourselves, what do we want in the next chapter of our life? Okay. And sometimes we're not thinking about that because we're just thinking about what's the newest therapeutic intervention. That's nice. But if you don't have no practice in a year to do all these therapy sessions because you didn't pay all this money to get certified, what's the point? Okay. So elevator pitch, maybe you want recurring revenue. Maybe you want a membership site. You shouldn't just throw together a membership site. One of my students is on here. She's also one of our mastermind students. And she first learned how to create her first membership site when we had a VIP, what was called a VIP branding mastermind November of last year. And then we had another mastermind September of this year. We typically do 1, maybe 2, depending on the year, each year. And we announce it very like 6 months before the event happens. So stay tuned for 2022. But nevertheless, I taught those students in that small, intimate setting that you can't, or I suggest that you just don't get up and develop a product and not understand even the back office of what it entails, because you don't want to put something out there for people and then you can't keep up with the customer service because you don't hire anyone. You don't know how to hire anyone. And those are the things that we teach at the foundational level in the academy, and then of course, very in depth in the mastermind program. So at the end of the day, if you want to learn how to create and launch and make profits off of digital products and even passive income, you have to be open with making the investment. Always remember you're making the investment in yourself. And just like we did school, we expected a return on our tuition money, even if it's wrapped into student loans. We expected that the school would equip us if we did our work, because some students don't do their work. We would be equipped with the ability to know as much information as possible for the licensing exam. Maybe there's things on there that we haven't seen because they can't teach us every single thing, right? In like, a couple of semesters, but they equipped us with how to study, how to write a dissertation for doctoral students, how to look at stats. They taught us those things, but we still have to go study. We still have to go practice for the licensing exam. We still have to go get CEs every 2 years, but throughout the 2 years to stay current. So, are you current in your business? Do you know your numbers? Do you know how much you bring in on an average per month, per week? Okay. So, let's go on to number 3, networking. Remember that your network is equivalent to your net worth. That's a tongue twister. Your network, circles of influence, meaning if you connect with the right people, your network will automatically increase because you would have improved your relationship capital. Relationship capital looks like this. I'm part of a mastermind. I have great friends. So one of my good friends that most of my students know is Dr. Roche. She does financial psychology stuff, like a whole lot of, looking at your money narrative and all those things, right? So I usually introduce all of my DTA students at one point or another, whether it's a live or recorded call in our portal. I want them to get that information. But would I be able to utilize her as frequently as I do if we didn't have a friendship? Probably not. I'm also part of a mastermind this year. When we get together, we always ask, what do you need from me based off my expertise? And can you come to my podcast? So just actually this Monday, I had a phone call with someone in my mastermind and I asked them, can they do something for my mastermind students next year? He said, of course. I live in that area. Give me the day, give me the time, and I will be there. It's a reciprocity exchange process. That is relationship capital. And why this is important right now is because where are most of us at doing our therapy? In our home office. It's lonely out here in these streets or in these four walls. Put a 1 in the chat box if you're in agreement with that. You still may hang out with your friends, but this is a new norm and it feels different. Okay. So in private practice, you want to be able to, like for example, with DTA, we connect students with new and alumni students. That's how we're raising, for example, our new students' relationship capital. We believe that alumni should be able to come back, refresh their memory for private practice, but also even just show up on a first call on Zoom so that other students can see, wow, like you touched a lot of people. And it's nice to hear from the alumni how much they've grown, because sometimes you just see their testimonials and you assume that's where they started. No, some of the students had no clients, no business checking account. And within 30 days, they got 21 clients. Within 30 days, they're leaving their job 2 to 3 months early. Within a year and a half, they've launched podcasts. They've launched membership sites. They've opened up group practices. They've hired therapists. They've created bulk sales for physical products. What I just told you is not, a lie. These are all things that my mastermind students that started off just showing up to something like this on a webinar because they were curious about, do I need help in my current or future business? You don't really know potentially what's on the other side of your 5-year vision. And what I shared with my students yesterday is that if you are open to allowing me to help you and allowing our community to pour into you because it's very positive, you will actually reach a level that you probably didn't even think existed. And I think that actually freaks a lot of my students out, those who see it through the DTA program and or the mastermind, because they're just baffled when I say, you've only been doing this for 6 months and look at all the things that you've accomplished. And they're like, wow, it just blows their mind. So you want to make sure that you're always raising your relationship capital. So so like I said, I make sure that we do those connections in our program so that at the end of the day, we're all working on the same goal, which is to make a big impact and serve our communities and have profitability. As it relates to digital products, especially if you're looking to scale your time and leverage your time, like I mentioned, utilize people that you're connected to. Start bartering for what they know in comparison to what you know. Now, I'm not saying you are to milk and don't let other people milk you for information, because even this workshop right now, I call these workshops because this is very good information that's not discussed on the therapist circuit. Okay. And so when someone says, "Oh man, you got the live, I didn't get it," your first response should be, "Oh, it was good. I got hella notes, but it's recorded on YouTube. You should go check it out." Right? Now, if they went to a live at the same time of you going to a live and y'all don't want to sit there and watch the recording, why don't you guys schedule a Zoom call or meet up for coffee or something and exchange notes? That is relationship capital. That is the benefit of having a Get It team. And what's better is when you can join programs with your Get It team and y'all see each other rise up. I've seen students in our program do that, and I actually have seen that some of them outpace people who are trying to just be by themselves. I just want to go through this program, get this information, and be by myself. That's fine if that's working for you, but if you're not seeing any growth, you definitely want to connect to somebody. Number 4, increase. The purpose of having a coach is to help you also broaden your mindset with not just your value, but what you're going to get back from people investing in your products or your services. So the goal in business is to make money, not to break even, not to become a nonprofit, unless that's the route that you're choosing to go down for your very own reasons. But even that, you're still doing a service. And so when we're looking at coaching, this is where we're looking at a coach combining strategy and experience. For me, whether that's experience of building my own private practice from scratch, me being able to build a group practice from scratch, me being able to go now into communities and build full-fledged mental health programs. Okay, that is impact. That is one-to-one, transitioning my mindset to one-to-many. But I would not have been able to even do what I'm doing right now, even on YouTube, if I didn't get coaching on text marketing, email marketing, building a community online. Those things are important because what I have to offer, most people don't even know that what I do exists. This is not a title that's in a career book, therapist, business coach. Most people don't even think that should go together, right? And that may mean that a lot of therapists don't know how to seek one out. Okay. So when you get a coach in terms of profitability, I believe, just from my experience, when I've invested in coaches and I've done the work and I've shown up to meetings and coaching calls and things like that, when they're pouring into me, I actually go a lot faster, which means that my systems are built faster, my products are sold faster. In turn, money is made faster. That is very straight to the point. I can't even make that longer. Okay. Knowledge. Coaches have invested time and money into finding the resources to grow their business. So, would you rather trade time for dollars? What do I mean by that? Would you rather spend an additional 3 years trying to find the answers and getting conflicting information for free, but it's not free because how much are you worth per hour? And if you don't know that, you definitely need to be a DTA, okay? If you want a private practice. But let's just say if you say, you know what, I'm worth, at least to my therapy clients, 150, but I'm worth 500 though, because I got a master's degree, whatever. All right. So let's just say you're worth $500. If you're spending 5 hours a week searching online, showing up to all these free webinars, and then at the end of the week, every week, you're noticing that you have conflicting information. How far did you really get? I'm curious. How far did you really get if you look up and it's 2 years later and you're like, yo, my friend just joined that program. She done graduated within 6 months. She's done and now she's scaling. When we were first talking, she was just growing. Now she's talking about online courses and stuff, and she's saying all these words that I don't even understand. So would you rather trade time for dollars? When you hear me talk about that, what I'm referencing is I want you to calculate, really, do a time audit. How much time are you searching for answers and not coming to a conclusion that will lead to profitability, times how much you're worth per hour? And then I want you to take that same number and ask yourself, how much is DTA? So let's just say there's a coaching program out there for $3,000. But when you calculate all the time you've had lapsed, you've spent $30,000 and you ain't got nothing to show for it. Put a 1 in the comment box if that makes sense. Time for dollars. You've spent $30,000 of your time, but because it's not tangible, you don't feel it until you probably get around somebody who y'all were on the same level, and then they're up here or up here, and you're still back here. It bruises your ego. Okay. So also with coaching as it relates to increase is that, of course, they're great mentors. So they will guide you down the right path in the most efficient time frame. My goal is to ensure that my clients don't repeat my mistakes, that my clients don't take 5 to 6 years to figure out, oh, wait, I need coaching. And then, oh, wait, what type of coach? This was my story. What kind of coach do I need? So I started investing in programs because I loved the energy of the coach. But sometimes I would invest in things not even being clear if that was the direction of my business. This requires you to be still, sit down, and ask yourself, even for next year, where do I see my business for 2022? Where do I see my business for 2026? I'm right now working 30 hours a week in my private practice. I don't want to keep doing that. I actually don't even want to see individual clients. I'd rather see groups. If that's your preference, then look at when you want to hit that goal by and dream big. Don't say 10 years. It can happen next year, but you have to have faith. But as a good coach, they will help you not just increase your money and your knowledge, but also increase your ability to get guided to get to your result a lot quicker. Okay. So the last one is time. So as we just talked about, trading time for dollars. Okay. Would you rather would you rather solve your problem in terms of what you want to create, what you want to put out there, what you want to offer? Would you rather spend months or years? How long have you tried to figure things out on your own, as I just mentioned in the previous slide? So as it relates to private practice, you can go out there and find a general coach. But some of you know it takes you a lot longer to apply that knowledge, as it did for myself, because of ethical codes that we have as a therapist. And the same example I give every time. Most coaches will tell you you got to get social proof, beta launch something, get something out there so that you can get testimonials. Well, if you're choosing to offer a therapeutic product versus like non-therapy, like coaching, something very general away from therapy, it's going to be very ethically difficult for you to get a testimonial, especially in therapy when you're still working with the client, unless you know how to do that. And we have resources for our students to teach them, of course, how to do that. But general coaches, I've had students who, we did a consultation to see if they were a right match even for my mastermind. And I asked one young lady earlier this year, I said, oh, so it looks like you've invested in some coaches. How has that worked out for you? And she was like, the coaches were good. I said, oh, so what was the outcome? She said, one thing that she said that stood out was that there was no end goal. So it was just like she was meeting with them, but there was no container. Like in our mastermind, we have a 10-month container. This year we had a curriculum. Next year it's going to get a little bit more robust with more one-on-one coaching and personalization of their services that they need. But nevertheless, at least this year, they knew exactly what we were doing from beginning to the end. We gave them like an incubator, right? When people try to free flow therapy like coaching, it just makes you feel like you're continuously paying for something and you don't know if it's going to end or not. I don't think that makes anybody feel safe. And even looking at their investment, does that make them feel good? And so what she also mentioned was that she noticed that there was a breaking point in that she then realized, oh, I probably need to find somebody who knows what I'm talking about, because the coach said, the young lady told the coach, I need your help as it relates to my private practice, because she was talking at first about something else. And the coach said something like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I can't help you. And that was the end of like that coaching session. How would you feel? Put that in the comment box. How would you feel if you hired someone you thought, because you got to do your homework too, that they were able to help you in all the things of your business? But then you realize, oh, wait, I'm in a medical profession. Not everybody's equipped in the general public to understand even the language that I use when I'm explaining something. You can't go to a coach unless they've done their work, or maybe they got certified as a coach and they took some psychology courses. You can't just tell somebody, I was experiencing transference, and like they're gonna be like, what the hell is transference? Okay. So make sure that you're finding a specific coach based off your goal. Last thing as it relates to time in terms of digital products is that if you choose to find a general coach, just a business coach, not niche down like a membership coach, a email funnel coach, or a all things digital products coach, or I'm a mental health therapist, business coach, right? So I only work with therapists. So when you go to a general coach, be mindful of therapy versus coaching, okay? Because when you're talking to them about your business, again, they may give you suggestions and you can't do anything with it. So one tip that I'm going to leave you with is you always, if you're offering coaching services, you always want to give a disclaimer that you are not that person or that group's therapist. And I'm being very, very serious and intentional right now because people first see you for how you're labeled across the entire internet. Even when you introduce yourself, look at how I introduce myself first. I am Dr. TK, licensed clinical psychologist, and the #1 therapist business coach. What do you think people are going to ask me more of? Clinical psychologist or business coach? Most people are more intrigued about a clinical psychologist. What do? Who do you work with? The only time that I've been asked about the other things I do is when I'm around other like-minded people that are coaches. Does that make sense? So be sure that you're giving disclaimers with the people that you work with or the customers as well. Because someone can download an ebook and swear up and down and tell everybody that you're their therapist. Okay. So as we wrapped up, we've talked about a lot of things as it relates to the reasons why it's beneficial for you to have a business coach. So we talked about mentorship. We talked about time, exchanging time for dollars. We talked about being able to look at a coach and shortcut your way to success. We also talked about finding the right coach and also making sure that you are clear on what you want in your business in your next chapter of abundance. So if you want to stay connected with me outside, of course, of subscribing to the YouTube channel and or my podcast, if you're listening to that, I would like you to text me. And I am on a mission to have conversations with therapists on a different level. And I would like you to text me on my literal cell phone, not on like a random cell phone. It literally goes to my cell phone, y'all. So if you text the word abundance, if you're not already receiving the daily affirmations from me, all you have to do is text 310-388-8603. And these are some of the things that I want to gift you with. And so you will automatically be able to get access to our freebie library, which is on my online course platform, one of them. And part of that library is completely free. I add things in over time, but we have things like manifestation checks. We have branding and marketing tips. And then we also have a library of all of our newsletters to highlight therapists who are doing some awesome things, at least for the entire 2021 year. As I mentioned, you will get daily business affirmations Monday through Friday that will help motivate you throughout the day. And then, of course, connection, because you will also be added to my VIP notification list so that when I do have a virtual party on Zoom, when I do open the doors for DTA, or if I do have a live event in 2022, wouldn't you like to be the one to first find out? And if I drop some extra deals for this holiday season, guess who I'm notifying first? Of course, alongside of my clients. Not social media, not Facebook, because it's over 20,000 people on my business page, but I'm going to notify you first. And for this holiday, people who are on my text list for my daily affirmations, you will get special secret deals. Okay. I'm just going to keep it at that. All right. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this podcast YouTube episode. I plan on doing a lot more of these. If you can put a 2 in the chat box, if you have been able to take in what I've talked to you about today, I would greatly appreciate it. Please share this episode with another therapist that definitely wants to grow and or scale their mental health business. And I am super grateful for your participation and your ability to tune in and want to grow yourself. I can be your digital coach in terms of personal development for your business. And so I will make sure that as long as you're on the text list, you will be notified when I'm going live. If you're part of our Facebook communities, our coaching programs, definitely you will be notified. But I am super grateful that all of you tuned in today to check me out. And I will see y'all soon. But I also have additional audio podcasts being sent out throughout the week. All right. So I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Bye.